Hello my loves, welcome back to the RP channel. If you are returning to my channel today, we are talking about a very crucial topic that I decided to touch on because I feel like all the things are irrelevant if you don't have this one thing. All the things that I talk about, all the things that I try to teach are irrelevant if you don't have this one thing, which is how to have unwavering self-belief. You cannot do anything without belief in oneself. Amazing things are created. Art is created, music is created through self-belief because an individual thought, oh, this is worth giving to the masses and it's worth having a lot of people appreciate this thing, whether that's art, music, it could be anything, businesses, whatever you're thinking of, whatever you're good at, it can be anything, right? If you think you have something valuable to offer the world, but you do not believe in yourself, maybe you believe in what you are able to do, but you don't believe in yourself, then this video is for you. Let's get into it. I was watching Cruella the other day, which actually won an Oscar, and it's an amazing movie, by the way. Amazing characters, amazing roles, and I remember one of the characters in the movie said, "Normal is the cruelest insult of them all," and that really made me think, because I was like, wait a second, that is so true. I would rather be called anything else in the entire world except for normal. By the way, the lighting is a little bit different because I am filming on my camera today instead of my phone because I realized that the sound quality was a little bit low. So if this is better, let me know. If it's not better, then I'll switch back, or I don't know. Otherwise, I don't really know what to do. I'll just disappear then, okay? So this is where the belief that something is special comes into play. What makes something special? Faith. Believing something so strongly, regardless of whatever anybody else has to say about it, that is true power. And if you can have that type of belief in yourself, everything will work out for you. And again, this is how people make millions. They have personal brands and they have things being done for them because they believe that what they have to offer to the world is special. Even if you look at YouTube for an example, it takes a lot to be a nobody and come on camera and just post it on YouTube and expect people to kind of have a good reaction to it, or like people to follow you, whatever. Because it's like, why would you subscribe to me? You don't even know me. You don't even know anything of what I've done. So why would you follow my advice, right? So it's like to have the courage to believe in something so much. Like I believed in the knowledge that I was learning, and I believed in the wisdom that I was applying into my life, and like how my life was changing, how my mindset was changing, and how I was dealing with problems was like changing, that I thought it could really help somebody, and it did. It helped a lot of people, and I'm so grateful that I'm impacting thousands of people because that is just like a dream come true. But I would not have been able to get here or even post my first video had I not had that belief within myself. So it starts with believing that something is special. And you know, when I was a kid, I never felt like I was all that really, but I always knew there was something about me, and I knew I was like gonna do something with communications or even like social media. Like I always knew from the bottom of my heart. When I was reading The Art of Seduction, there was an archetype in there called the star. I feel like I heavily identify with this archetype because for much of my life, I was a chameleon. Like I blended with lots of different groups and I was always very naturally popular. And I'm not trying to say this in like a blah, blah, blah way. I'm trying to say it in like, I just had, I guess, something about me that really, I feel like people related to me, regardless of what type of circle they were in. There was always that human relatability, and I feel like I just exude that naturally. So I always knew that I was going to do something very special. I knew that I was always going to do something very grand. I never thought small for myself. I was always thinking bigger for my future. So I'm grateful that I still think that way. And you know what? This is a fundamental thing that high caliber people understand, is that the only thing that makes something special is faith. The belief that something is special is what makes it special and nothing else. If you look at people who are in the music industry, right? A lot of artists that are up and coming, media companies try to build an idea around them to make other people idolize them too. Like if they're a new up and coming artist, they try to build a personal brand about them or make them into an idea and be like, oh my God, this person is so special. So it goes one of two ways. Either somebody puts you in the spotlight, believes in your potential so much and says, hey, everybody, this person is so special. And then everybody else hops on the bandwagon and says, oh my God, you think that they're so special, they must be. Or if you don't have anybody to put you in that spotlight, then you have to do that for yourself, which is where, you know, creators come into play, where you yourself have faith in what you have to deliver, and so you put yourself out there because you know that what you have to offer is very special and you think that you're special. This is another quote I heard from a movie and it's very powerful. I watched Babylon. I've been into movies very much lately. Okay, I think it's the transition from summer to fall. I always feel like, no, never mind, I'm not gonna get off topic. Anyways, Babylon, she said in the movie, she said, honey, you don't become a star. Either you are one or you're not. And I was like, that is facts. It's like, become something. Either you are one or you're not. Either you blatantly have the belief that you are special, or you absolutely think that you're not. There is no in between. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh, when I was a kid, I never thought I was special, so how can I be special now? You can always change the belief. That's what the point of this video is. Change the belief. Change your belief systems about yourself, and you will absolutely be able to hit any single milestone that you've ever set for yourself, because it all takes you having to believe in something. You know, when people made great inventions back in the day, how do you think they were so persistent on making something work? It's because they had so much faith, undeniable faith that this thing would work. We can refer to anything in history. We can talk about light bulbs or airplanes or anything that was created in history. You know, those people had so much resilience that no matter what life threw at them, they still wanted to work on something they believed in so much, right? Next one, have proof, because if you do, it will make it impossible for you not to believe in yourself. This is a little bit of a hard one to understand, so I wrote this down to try and make it make as much sense as possible. Self-belief is a byproduct of taking action. Taking action is not a byproduct of having self-belief. For example, it's like a lot of people say, I have to be happy and then I'll do this. I have to feel the emotions of being a happy person in order to accomplish this goal, or I have to do this before I accomplish this goal. And that's the wrong way of seeing the system. I heard a monk master say, he said, you're not locking yourself in your room because you're depressed. You're depressed because you're locking yourself in your room. Because a lot of people will be like, I'm locking myself in my room because I'm depressed, or I can't go outside until I'm happy. But maybe you're not happy because you haven't gone outside. You know what I mean? If you want to accomplish things, if you want to have self-confidence, you need some sort of proof that you are able to be a confident person. Imagine you set a goal for yourself to go to the gym all the time, or make your bed every morning, or go make better friends, or quit your vices, or whatever it is, and you don't stay true to those things, then you will not have faith in yourself, because you can't even keep your own promises to yourself. And this is a hard one because it takes so much time for you having to really go inward and work with yourself. But this is one of the things that changes your life forever. Okay? And because when you accomplish one thing, the mind naturally wants to expand itself. So when you accomplish one thing that you used to put on a pedestal and say, oh my God, it would be amazing if I accomplished this one thing, then you accomplish it and you're like, wait a second, if I accomplish this, that means I can accomplish greater things. That means I can do da 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 da. That means I can do all these other crazy things that I never thought were possible. And this is the loop that you want to stay in. Next one, do not limit yourself to external things, your looks, your age, your height, your weight, whatever it is. You know why? Because then you will be somebody who's constantly living by the rule book. In my last video, a lot of people were commenting about the fact that they were shocked that I'm 21 years old. And it's because like I carry myself well or whatever it is, but my whole life I've been hearing the same thing, because I think people have this misinterpretation that age comes with wisdom. So the older that you are, the more wisdom you have. And as much as that might be true, I think that's very true. I think if you can learn from your life experiences, and the more experience, because the thing is, bottom line is, knowledge is not meant for knowledge is meant for application. If you just gain a bunch of knowledge and you just store it in your brain and you just have it to sound smart, it doesn't really do much for you, and the quality of your life is not actually going to be good. It's just you maybe being impressive to, I don't know, random people out there, which isn't really important, and you'll realize that later on that it's actually not important at all. You want to be able to apply what it is that you're learning and apply the knowledge that you're gaining. And that's where I feel like age really helps, because obviously inevitably you have to go through things in your life, right? But at the same time, you have to live life regardless. You have to go through life regardless. You have to have experiences regardless. Experiences, problems will inevitably come. It's a matter of what you can learn from those experiences. Every single thing that has happened to me in my life, I have always learned from those experiences. I have always tried to decipher them and look at them and say, what can this teach me about myself? What is this teaching me about other people? And that is exactly how I was able to gain so much wisdom. On top of that, I'm not afraid, or I don't have such a big ego that I can't learn from other people, or even just like take constructive criticism. I recently started taking criticism because I'm like, you know what? You know, obviously constructive criticism from your loved ones is a really good thing. Like it completely tears apart your ego, but it also shows you the best parts of yourself and the best parts of the world if you're willing to open your mind and just learn, right? If I were to limit myself to how old I am, I never would have started my channel, because I thought that, you know, I did have that moment where I thought that people wouldn't take me seriously because of my age, and so I never said anything about my age. But after that, I was like, listen, I'm 21. I don't care about the fact that I'm 21. I appreciate the fact that am able to live the life that I live and live in the way that I'm living, at this age, because I feel like a lot of people don't reach this point until later on in life. And I learn from those people too. I watch them and I say, which type of life do I want to have? What kind of habits do I want to have? What kind of people do I want to be around? What kind of ideal version of me do I want to be 10, 20 years from now? It's funny because when I was younger, my brother said a quote to me that I thought was really harsh at the time because I never understood it. He said, if you were born poor, it's not your fault, but if you die poor, then it is your fault. And I remember thinking at that age, I was like, damn, that is so harsh because it's not people's fault and all that stuff. But then as I started to take accountability for my own life, I started holding other people accountable for their own life too. As I stopped making excuses for myself, I also stopped making excuses for other people. And honestly, that saying became less and less harsh as time went on because I realized that is actually very true. You need to pull it together. Everybody has equal opportunity when you think about it in that way. And if you're saying that you don't have equal opportunity, do not limit yourself to whatever it is that you think is limiting you, that is outside of you. And this is another thing that I want to mention is the difference between external validation and internal conviction, and knowing the difference between the two. So external validation is when someone else sees your value first and then others follow, which is like the artist example that I was giving. And usually that doesn't work out too well. Like obviously you don't want to just pass off the work to somebody else to just like hype you up and for them to be your cheerleader 24/7. Is like you need to learn to be your own cheerleader, which is where internal conviction comes in. You choose to believe in yourself so deeply that others simply cannot ignore it. You ever see those people that are just like, they seem like they're just born to be in the spotlight, and it's because that they have that unwavering self-belief. They have that internal conviction that they know who the hell they are, and nobody else can ignore that because the energy that they vibrate is so powerful and so magnetic. It's a matter of understanding that your circumstances do not define your future. And if you stay stuck in this victim mentality, it's so dangerous to go down that rabbit hole, because if you go too far, even you will not be able to get yourself out of it. That's how dangerous it is. Because victim mentality is also very addicting in a way, because it's easier to sell yourself these stories rather than to change something and be uncomfortable. And I get it. It is so uncomfortable, but discomfort is a beautiful way to live. And as much as it feels excruciatingly painful sometimes to do something different or do something that you're not familiar with, because it's easier to do what you've always done, it's so worth it in the end, because at least you evolve into a version of yourself that is anew, something new, something different, not the same person that you've been your whole life. I meet people who I've known them for like 10 plus years, and to be honest, they're not any different than where they were 10, 15 years ago. And it's very sad to see that, because they haven't learned anything from their life experiences. And it's not that they don't have those life experiences to learn from them. They've been through trauma, they've been through heartbreak, and they've been through health issues and all these other things that really deeply affect us, but they don't choose to learn anything from it. They choose to see it in a superficial way that actually doesn't benefit their life at all. So don't make that mistake, because you want to be wise as you grow older. Then there's no point of this life. You understand? Like the point of age is to have wisdom, and the point of age is to see the world in a better and in a new light so that we can give back based on what we have learned. Right? Anyways, that is all for today's video. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next video. And again, online community open, fully free right now, so join when you get the chance. We are going to be doing a lot of different challenges and stuff like that, and there's going to be a book club starting on there too. So if you are a reader and you'd like to read something about womanhood and self-development and all that stuff, then we are actually going to be reading a really interesting book on there if you want to check it out. But anyways, I love you so much again, and I will see you guys in the next one.